two figures drop from the belly of a modified bomber, disappearing into the freezing mist of the December night sky. They are falling toward the occupied territory of Bohemia and Moravia. Their mission is a top-secret strike, authorized at the highest levels of the Allied command. The man they are hunting is Reinhard Heydrich. As a primary architect of the Holocaust, he is the administrator of a system designed to kill over 1.5 million people. His reputation for cold, calculating violence is so distinct that even Adolf Hitler refers to him as the man with the iron heart. In London, the Czech government in exile is facing a crisis of legitimacy. With the homeland appearing to comply with Nazi rule, the Allies have begun to doubt the Czech will to resist. A strike against Heydrich is the gamble they've chosen to prove they are still a nation at war. Physically, Heydrich is the Nazi ideal: tall, blonde, and athletic. But behind this curated image, he is a man defined by deep-seated personal friction. He is haunted by a high-pitched voice that invites ridicule and a persistent rumor that he has Jewish ancestry, a claim that led his schoolmates to mock him with the nickname Blonde Moses. His career nearly ended in 1931 when he was dishonorably discharged from the German Navy. A court of honor found him guilty of indiscretion following a scandal involving a broken engagement. He sought to scrub his record by marrying Lena von Osten, a woman whose fervent Nazi beliefs and Nordic features provided him with a shield against further rumors regarding his own lineage. This marriage brought him into the circle of Heinrich Himmler. Recognizing Heydrich's talent for organization and his lack of empathy, Himmler brought him into the SS to build a new kind of intelligence service. Heydrich's climb was marked by a total, icy commitment to the regime's most radical goals. By the late 1930s, he had successfully traded his personal humiliations for a position as one of the most feared administrators of state-sponsored violence in Germany. In 1938, Heydrich demonstrated his utility by orchestrating the violence of Kristallnacht, coordinating the destruction of thousands of Jewish businesses and the first mass arrests of the Holocaust. By July 1941, his authority expanded. This timeline shows his transition to drafting the final solution, the blueprint for the systematic murder of the Jewish people across Europe. He became the manager of mass death, directing subordinates like Adolf Eichmann to ensure the machinery of genocide operated with industrial precision. While Heydrich organized these systems from a desk in Berlin, Czech soldiers in exile were forced to watch from afar as their families and culture were systematically dismantled. Among them were Josef Gabčík and Jan Kubiš. These men refused to accept the surrender of their military, choosing to flee through occupied borders rather than serve the new administration. They traveled through Poland and into the French Foreign Legion, seeking any unit that would allow them to take up arms against the German occupation. The contrast was absolute. Heydrich was busy standardizing the logistics of a continental genocide, while Gabčík and Kubiš were navigating a desperate international path toward a single moment of retaliation. In autumn 1941, Hitler decided the occupation of the Czech lands required a harder hand. He replaced the career diplomat Konstantin von Neurath with Heydrich. Heydrich immediately began a campaign of public executions and mass deportations. His efficiency in pacifying the region earned him his final title, the Butcher of Prague. Settling into a castle outside the city, Heydrich operated with such hubris that he often traveled in an open-topped car without an armed escort, convinced that his reign of terror had successfully paralyzed any potential opposition. But in London, the British Special Operations Executive was finalizing the details of Operation Anthropoid. Gabčík and Kubiš were chosen specifically for their bond and their specialized training in sabotage and urban combat. This drop culminated months of preparation. As Heydrich slept in his estate, his hunters were finally on the ground, miles from the city center. Operation Anthropoid was a calculated political move by the Czech exiles to re-enter the war as a credible power. By targeting the man with the iron heart, Gabčík and Kubiš were not just seeking a simple revenge, they were executing a strategic strike to shatter the illusion of Nazi invulnerability. Look at this document, stamped with Geheime Reichssache, top secret. This protocol outlines the logistics for the mass murder of European Jews. The man organizing those horrific details was Reinhard Heydrich. Heydrich carried out his orders with such brutal efficiency that his reputation unnerved his own superiors. Even Adolf Hitler feared him. Taking out a target of that magnitude requires flawless logistics. Today, a team coordinating a massive operation can rely on precise tracking to keep everything aligned. In 1941, military planners had no such luxury. If you're managing a complex project today, you use something like our long-term sponsor, Udo. Udo is an all-in-one business management software with over 45 applications. Their project management app lets you build custom stages, assign responsibilities, and monitor progress through Kanban, Gantt, or list views. The first app is entirely free for life, and you can add more as your business grows, starting at just €19.90 a month. Scan the QR code or click the link below to get started. Modern tools isolate us from disaster, but during the Second World War, the most critical operations were entirely at the mercy of unpredictable weather, of mechanical flaws, and simple human error. In the early hours of December 29, 1941, a British Halifax bomber fought its way through a blinding snowstorm. The heavy snow made visual navigation impossible. The crew made a massive miscalculation, dropping their two paratroopers, Gobseek and Kubish, 20 kilometers east of Prague instead of their actual target zone near Pilsen. Plunging into the dark, Gobseek misjudged his distance to the ground. He hit the deep snow hard, severely injuring his left foot. The two soldiers buried their parachutes and dragged themselves into an abandoned stone quarry to hide. By morning, a local gamekeeper who had heard their plane tracked their footprints right to them. Their cover story as land surveyors immediately collapsed. Before the sun even rose, the strictest rule of their mission was broken. They were supposed to avoid all contact with the local resistance. Now, stranded and injured, their survival depended entirely on the kindness of a stranger. Prague was under intense Nazi occupation. Trusting the wrong neighbor meant a swift death sentence. The gamekeeper brought them to a local miller. Desperate, Gobseek and Kubish accepted their help, violating their own direct orders to remain isolated. This connection plugged them directly into the so-called underground network. For months, ordinary families rotated them between safe houses, rationing their own limited food to keep the assassins alive. While the paratroopers were covered in secret, German soldiers heavily patrolled the streets above, projecting an overwhelming physical presence over the city. The success of an elite military strike now rested entirely on the shoulders of unarmed civilians, who knew that harboring these men would cost them their lives. With the help of the underground, the assassins began tracking Heydrich, mapping out his daily routines to find a single point of vulnerability. Attacking him at his headquarters was impossible. The SS maintained a tight, impenetrable ring of security around his castle. But Heydrich had a fatal flaw. His extreme arrogance led him to travel in an open-top car with 0 escort guards. When word leaked that he might be leaving Prague for good, the team knew they had to strike him on the road. They disassembled a British Sten submachine gun and packed it, along with 2 customized explosives, into a pair of ordinary briefcases. To hide the hardware, they stuffed the briefcases with fresh grass. Because of wartime food shortages, locals constantly carried grass to feed their domestic rabbits, making the assassins virtually invisible on the street. They couldn't breach a fortress, so they planned to exploit their target's ego during his daily, unprotected commute. The morning of May 27, 1942, was quiet. Heydrich finished breakfast with his family, while Gobseek and Kubish stood waiting on a narrow, descending street in the Lieben district. Around 10 o'clock, Heydrich's Mercedes approached. The sharp turn in the road forced his driver to brake and slow the vehicle to a crawl. Gobseek dropped his raincoat on the pavement, stepped directly in front of the car, raised his weapon, and squeezed the trigger. Nothing happened. The mechanism on this British Sten submachine gun jammed completely. Perhaps pieces of the grass camouflage fell into the action. Maybe the weapon, known for its unreliability, simply failed. Or it was just terrible luck. Months of agonizing preparation, sustained by the daily bravery of the Czech underground, dissolved in an instant over a single faulty mechanical action. Thinking he was facing a lone gunman, Heydrich made a fatal error in judgment. Instead of ordering his driver to accelerate out of the kill zone, he yelled for the car to stop and stood up to draw his pistol. Seeing the Mercedes stall, Kubish stepped out from the shadows and hurled his concealed explosive toward the vehicle. In the sheer panic of the moment, he misjudged the distance. The bomb didn't land inside the open passenger compartment. In that split second, the ultimate outcome of the mission hung suspended in the air, trapped between human arrogance and a devastating mechanical failure. Joseph Gabčík and Jan Kubiš vanish into the chaotic streets of Prague. They split up, dodging through butcher shops and pedaling away on stolen bicycles. As they run, a heavy realization sets in. The bomb didn't kill their target. They believe their mission has failed. But the shrapnel did its work. 8 days later, the Deputy Reich Protector, Reinhard Heydrich, dies in a local hospital from infections caused by the explosion. Hitler has lost one of his highest-ranking and most ruthless architects. The power vacuum is immediate. The Gestapo instantly deploys thousands of agents across the protectorate to hunt down the assassins, but they turn up absolutely nothing. No leads, no names, no suspects. One of the most powerful intelligence networks in the world had been humiliated in broad daylight. To repair their image of total control, the regime demanded a massive, blind blood sacrifice. The Nazis set their sights on Lidice, a quiet farming village of about 500 people. They suspect a few residents might have ties to the resistance. They have zero evidence to back this up. Hours after midnight on June 10, 1942, heavily armed troops seal off the village. They pull off a systematic raid, lining up 173 men and executing them on the spot. The women are immediately loaded onto trucks and deported to the Ravensbrück concentration camp for forced labor. Children under a year old and a few selected for forced Germanization are spared. The remaining children are shipped straight to the Chelmno extermination camp in Poland, where they are murdered. This photograph shows Lidice before the raid, a thriving community. Usually, the Nazis hid their atrocities, but here they brought cameras. The bottom panel reveals the aftermath. They burned homes and reduced the town to an empty field, broadcasting the footage as state propaganda. Lidice offered zero military value. The absolute erasure of the town was engineered as a performative warning. By killing innocents on such a massive scale, the Nazis calculated they could break the psychological will of the entire Czech resistance. Burning villages didn't produce the assassins, so the Gestapo pivoted. They announced a blanket amnesty for anyone who provided information, pairing the offer with a staggering cash reward of 1 million Reichsmarks. This diagram shows how the stalemate broke. A paratrooper named Karl Chorda, who trained alongside the assassins, walks into Gestapo headquarters. In exchange for the cash, Chorda becomes the critical node, handing the Gestapo a direct map to resistance safehouses. The network immediately collapses. The Gestapo storms the apartment of the Moravec family, who had been sheltering the paratroopers. The mother swallows a cyanide capsule in the bathroom. Her son is dragged away and subjected to brutal interrogation tactics until he finally breaks, revealing the ultimate hiding spot. For weeks, Nazi intelligence had chased shadows. They finally cracked the case, not through brilliant detective work, but by purchasing the loyalty of a frightened, greedy man. Gabčík, Kubiš, and 5 other paratroopers had retreated to the damp stone crypt beneath the Orthodox Church of Saints Cyril and Methodius. In the dark, they listened to radio reports of Lidice burning. The guilt of knowing hundreds of civilians are dying for their actions weighs heavily on them. They actively discuss walking into a public park and killing themselves, hoping a suicide note taking full responsibility might stop the massacres. Before they can act, the streets outside the church fill with the sounds of screaming tires and barking orders. Over 700 heavily armed SS and Gestapo troops surround the building, boxing in the 7 trapped men. Look at the heavy scarring carved into the stone outside this basement window. The paratroopers hold their ground for hours in a fierce firefight. Frustrated, the Nazis bring in fire brigades, pumping high-pressure water through this opening to drown them. Kubiš dies from injuries sustained in the battle. As the water rises around the remaining men, they make their final choice. They swallow their cyanide capsules and turn their last remaining bullets on themselves. By ensuring they died in the dark, the paratroopers denied the Nazis the intelligence they desperately wanted and robbed them of the public, humiliating show trial they craved. The violence continues to ripple outward. The Nazis execute Bishop Gorazad for offering the church as sanctuary. Days later, they target another village, Ležáky. Every adult is shot, the children are deported to be murdered, and the town is burned off the map. The architects of these massacres did face a reckoning, eventually. After the war, Karl Hermann Frank, the Nazi official who ordered the erasure of Ladice and Ležáky, was captured, tried, and publicly executed in Prague. Karl Čerda, the paratrooper who sold out his friends for 1,000,000 Reichsmarks, tried to disappear. He was hunted down by authorities, convicted of treason, and hanged in 1947. But justice rarely falls evenly. Lena Heydrich, the widow of the assassinated target, moved back to Germany and spent the rest of her life fiercely defending her husband's actions. In the 1950s, she sued the West German government, successfully securing a luxurious widow's pension and reclaiming her sprawling summer estate. The men who pulled the triggers and betrayed their comrades met violent ends, but the bureaucratic machinery that protected the perpetrators allowed figures like Lena Heydrich to live out their days in comfort. If you visit Prague today, you can still stand in the crypt of St. Cyril and Methodius. You can walk through the empty fields where thriving farming communities used to be. At Ladice, this bronze memorial watches over the grounds. 82 statues, representing each of the children murdered in the gas vans, serve as a permanent anchor to the human cost of the Nazis' retribution. Hitler tried to wipe Ladice and the Czech resistance off the face of the earth, to prove his empire was untouchable. Instead, the empty fields and bullet-scarred walls remain standing decades later, preserving the memory of the innocent people who paid the price for defying him.